This is another episode of me documenting the day-to-day process I'm taking to achieve long-term consistency in the financial markets. And folks, right now I'm definitely in a rough spot mentally, but it's not necessarily from my trading, but it's definitely bleeding over into my trading, and it's just putting me in a state of confusion, I guess you could say. Because if you watched my last video, you know that I was faced with a really big decision that I had to make, and that decision is probably going to determine how my life plays out in the near term, at least over the next couple of years. And it basically came down to, should I move back with my parents or should I get a place on my own? And weighing out the pros and cons of each situation. The cons of living at home with my parents are I have to go back home to a toxic environment where my mom does not support me, does not support my journey. But the pros would be I save money. The cons of getting my own place is I have to pay for my own rent. I got to pay my own way, right? The pros of having my own place would be I have my own creative space to do whatever I want. I'm living on my own, and I feel like it would be a good opportunity for me to grow. So today I finally came to the conclusion that I'm going to get my own place. I know y'all left your suggestions for what I should do in the previous video, and I listened to them. And there's a few of y'all that I think know what's up, that know that if I kind of throw myself onto the fire, I'm going to put myself in a position to grow. Now, could that affect the way that I trade? 100%. Because I have no money coming in, but there's going to be a lot of money coming out. So, you know what? We'll see how it goes. This could get really dark. It could get very dark. But all that matters is that I maintain my mindset. And that is something that I want to talk about today because I've completely lost that in this situation that I'm currently in. So many times throughout this entire journey, I've been met at a crossroad where I have to make a really, really big decision. The last one that I had made was literally a year ago, almost to the date, I think, when I was deciding if I should leave behind order flow and supply and demand and start studying ICT, drop everything that I was doing, leave all the money that I put into supply and demand behind, and start something entirely new. And that was last summer. And when I come to these big decisions, these crossroads, I'm met with indecision. I can't decide. I literally cannot come to a conclusion. I can't make a decision. So that kind of puts me out of order, quite literally, for a couple of days. Like I'm telling y'all, I really have not done anything this week at all in terms of working. I'm doing things, but I'm not actually getting anything done. I'm sure you know what I mean. You've probably experienced that in your own work life. Because of this indecision, now my mind tends to want to do everything but make the decision that it has to make because it's extremely difficult. And I know that the weight of that decision is huge. So I haven't really been doing much. I kind of been drifting and kind of letting go of myself too. Old habits are starting to creep back in. For example, the phone, this guy right here, I've noted that whenever I'm met with indecision about this big decision that I have to make, I tend to distract my mind and just prevent it from thinking about that problem or that choice that I have to make, and I will literally doom scroll. And doom scrolling is something that I never do. I never do it. And now that this is back, this situation is back, what have I found myself doing again? Doom scrolling. I'm literally just sitting on my phone, scrolling through Instagram, scrolling through YouTube. Just something that I've never, ever, it's just, I don't do it. I don't do it. So, whenever you're met with difficulties, you will always fall back on your systems. Your systems being, how do you handle rough times? For me, that would be the habit of doom scrolling, just to get my mind off of whatever I'm going through. And the weight of this decision is huge. It's pushing me to make that bad habit again. It's difficult, folks. This is the journey. This is it. Now, obviously, my trading performance does not add on to anything that would help me pull myself out of this hole that I've kind of dug myself into. But it was crazy because I had a lot of momentum. I'm sure you could see it, and I'm sure you could probably even feel it too, watching the videos that I produced last week, where I'm just energetic and my mind is so strong, my mind is so iron that literally nothing can get to me. Now the losses are accumulating, and of course, they start to get to you. I feel like each hit that I take from each losing day, picture it this way. My mind is a wall, right? My mind is a wall protecting the fortress, I guess you could say, which is me and maybe my mental state and my soul, I guess you could say. Each losing day that I have takes another hit. Boom. Takes a hit. Boom. Takes a hit. Boom. 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 Now in the beginning, I'm able to easily recover from them like this, which is why I was able to pull myself out of drawdown here, right? But over time, take another hit. Take another hit. Take another hit. Take another hit. 4 in a row. And each time it gets more and more difficult to recover from that. Now add on top of that the situation that I'm in right now where I've had to make this huge decision. It's getting rough. It's getting rough. And I know that I'm close, but at the same time, it feels like I'm far. And now that I've fallen back into the bad habit of doom scrolling and just not wanting to work, I'm just reaffirming with myself that I'm just reaffirming all the negative thoughts that I have in my mind when I do these bad habits. When I know that I should do this to improve my trading, but I choose not to, I choose to doom scroll instead. I just reaffirm with myself that I'm not serious about my goals and my intentions, and I just don't care about them in this moment. And that starts to compound. And then eventually it gets harder and harder to do the work because now you've built up this huge wall of resistance that's so hard to get over to start the work and actually do it and get it done. So it's crazy because last week and the week before that, maybe even the week before that perhaps, I literally had a 10x in my mindset. I was Iron Mind. I was fucking unbreakable, untouchable, unshakable. You could not fuck with me. Fast forward to this week, a lot of things change. And I know that I'm in a transition period right now. And I mark these periods of my life as transition periods because big change is happening. Big change is happening. And I call them transition periods. And it always comes when I'm met with a very big decision. And then what happens? I feel indecision, can't make that decision. And it leads to me falling back on my systems, my bad habits. And now I'm in a hole. Now I've basically degraded the mindset that I've established over the past 3 weeks. So to me, it's crazy how you can build it up and become so strong, so Iron Mind. But as quickly as you got it, it's gone like that. So now I have to retrain myself to get back up to that level, which I know I can get there and beyond because I've done it before. I just need to move into that apartment and get to work again. So I'm just in a transition period, and that has just completely degraded my mental state, my mind, and here we are, folks. Look at my performance for this month, down 7R, 7% win rate, 1 winning trade, 13 losing trades. And this is it, This is the raw part of the journey. This is the part that we all go through. But how am I going to get over it? How am I going to get through it? How am I going to handle it? Number 1, I know I'm not quitting. Number 2, I know this is going to work no matter what. Number 3, I believe in myself. And number 4, I know I can take the action that is required to get there, to fulfill my intentions each and every day. I know what I'm capable of. I know what I've done in the past, and I can get back there. It's a difficult feeling when you feel like you're so close, but at the same time, so far. It's just the same mistakes, the same things that I'm doing wrong. The same model that I use shows up consistently, but I'm still not able to execute on that. So this is a very long monologue, and I feel like it needs to be just to explain kind of where my head's at in this journey. Now, this isn't the end by any means. Your darkest times are going to be where you grow the most. So if this is one of them, I'm looking forward to it. Because all it means is that I'm going to go through a period of growth. And that's going to push me a lot further towards where I want to be. Now, a couple of other things is I feel like I've always put trading on a pedestal. It's always been this big, grand thing of profitable trading. It's just like, wow, like, oh my God, that's what I want to do. I'm working towards that. And I've only given myself the option to just do that every single day. That's what I do. Like, I feel like I care about it so much and I work at it so much that I've quite literally manifested the exact outcome, the exact opposite outcome of what I want from this. So, how I'm going to counteract that and kind of balance that out, what I'm thinking on doing is building something for the community, for those of you who have been following the journey consistently and possibly want to connect with me more, have direct access to me and all the resources that I have and I've curated along in my trading journey, and just share that with you guys, and at the same time create a network of those of you who are extremely ambitious like me, who are striving to become the best version of yourself that you could possibly become. You're extremely passionate about trading, and this is what you know that this is what you want to do with your life. So I'm thinking about building something for that. With that being said, let's get into today's breakdown. And we're also approaching 1,000 subscribers. It's happening really fast, you know? It's like in some areas of my life are going down, other areas of my life are going up, you know? My trading's going down, my mindset's going down, my habits are going down. But, you know, I'm still training, I'm still doing good on that. My content is growing. I'm growing a community, and there's other things that I also want to do. Let's go ahead and break this day down. The optimal market approach. What is the draw on liquidity? You know, let's go through from here. Net P&L today down $275. The optimal market approach. This is it. So I try to keep it really, really simple today, and I did, and it was correct. But I still could not submit to that idea, which, if you watch my videos, that's kind of the reason why I have losing trades every single time. What's the draw on liquidity? Today I was aiming for data high and Monday daily high. So what was my bias? On the higher time frame narrative, to me, the development of the weekly range is clearly bullish, and now prices rebounds to Tuesday's impulse swing. And the market criteria is we have an overnight range with price manipulating the range low first when the higher time frame narrative is bullish. So this is perfect. This is perfectly setting up a long idea for me. How is it going to get to the draw on liquidity? I'd like to see price continue to trade down first below the pre-market low and show me signs of strength at the hourly 15-minute gap or even the daily down candle. So what setup am I looking for? Main idea, I'm looking for a range play going along the development of the weekly range. Now, if you can see in my alternate idea, I intuitively know this is not bullish fuck. So this right here. As I'm coming to the market, I'm connecting the dots in my market approach that I follow consistently, and I arrive at the conclusion that I should be bullish on the day. But for some reason, I feel that this day is probably not going to be bullish and I should probably be bearish. I'm going to explain why. So let's go to the chart. Top down, 3, 2, 1, here we go. So let's look at last week's candle. It settled on its high. That's bullish, okay. We also have a down candle that it overlapped. So if this price action is in the chart, solidified on this week's candle, probably what I'm going to look for is the market to open, trade down into this down candle, and then trade up. We can see that we've done that so far this week. Monday closed in the opposite direction of how I'm expecting that weekly candle to paint. That's perfect. That's going to form the low week. Tuesday confirms that this week is bullish. It's a large up close candle, settled near its high. Wednesday in the overnight session was an overextension of this impulse swing, which is why the market starts to rebalance that. Closed here, created this daily gap. Now today, I want to see the market rebalance Tuesday's range for continuation. We also have a daily gap, and we have a daily down candle. So if the market's bullish, down candle should support price. Obviously, we have this daily gap. You can use that to monitor the strength and weakness of price on the 4-hour. We can see that we have consolidation. Look at these small range candles all in one area. We have this large open obvious gap. So the point of interest is now a daily gap and a 4-hour gap. I'm gonna make myself bigger. Now in the hourly, we also have that gap as well. I'm going to take that off the hourly. It's on the 15-minute. So I'm always annotating the previous day high and low to see how the market is trading around that. Now, what am I expecting based on the higher time frame narrative? I want to see the market trade down, rebalance Tuesday's range that we have right here, from here to here, and then trade up. So we see that we have this overnight range, PPI, the market manipulates down, takes the range low, trades into a discount of Tuesday's range, or even this range in its entirety. Let's see. Definitely reached a discount, traded down into this gap, and let's see how the market closed on that gap on the 8 o'clock candle. It couldn't even fill the gap. So if you can't even fill the gap and it closes above the midpoint of it, that's a sure sign of strength. And that's why you have this push up in the morning session. That's what I was looking for. Now, the alternate idea that I had in my mind, or why I intuitively felt that I should be bearish on the day, was because we had this consolidation range right here, and then the market aggressively left it lower, laying this large down candle on the hourly. And I saw how this high just barely went above this high and closed below this gap right here, which is why it's annotated. And to me, that looked like the market was weak. So now I see, okay, it could be bullish, and now I see, okay, it could be bearish. What does that lead to intraday? Intraday, that led to the loss that I took. It led to an impulsive short sell. On the 15-minute, we can see that overnight range. The market's waiting for PPI, opens, manipulates down to rebalance Tuesday's range. That's perfect. That's literally the narrative that I had established since Wednesday. Although we didn't get a continuation up, kind of just sat right here. Manipulated down first, so I'm looking for a data high. Now what I wanted to see happen, let's see if this is my pre-market plan, is I'd like to see price continue to trade down first below the pre-market low and show me signs of strength. It didn't do that. It never made a lower low than that of pre-market because it already delivered the discount objective. We can see that it traded down into the gap on the daily, the 4-hour, the 1-hour, and the 15-minute. So if we have a gap that is congruent on the daily, the 4-hour, the 1-hour, and the 15-minute, 4 different time frames, that's a strong probability area for a reversal, right? So the market traded down into it, couldn't even fill that gap. That's a sign of strength, and closed above it. We have all these other large lower wicks as well. This candle went below that candle's low, closed above it. This candle traded down, touched the gap, touched the high of the gap, and then closed near its high. That's very bullish. And then the 9:30 candle opens, it trades down, and then trades up, closed near its high. That's bullish. And then it takes out the range high. So this is my range play playbook. If I go to, pull up my Notion database, we're going to see I have a lot of recorded examples of the market doing exactly this. So, and it tends to happen on news drivers as well, because if we have a news driver that's pending from the overnight session, or when we have a news driver that's pending, then the market tends to range in the overnight session. So same thing here, right? We have this gap on the higher time frame. Here's the hourly, gap on the hourly, gap on the 15, gap on the 4-hour. Right? So kind of a similar setup with the higher time frame gap that's congruent on the 4-hour, the hourly, and the 15-minute. We have a range in the overnight session because we have a high impact driver that comes out. The market opens, trades down, takes the low of the range first, rebalances the previous day's range, delivers that discount objective in the pre-market session, closed above it, did not close the gap, and then at 9:30 it never made a lower low than that of the pre-market low and continued to trade higher and took the range high. So is this not literally the same exact formation that we see with the same exact narrative? It is. And that is what I'm looking for. See if this is something similar. This is similar in the sense that we had this range and the market traded down, took the range low first, but then left it aggressively and left this obvious gap that the market traded down into and then traded up. It's not identical formations, but it's showing the same characteristics in price, and that's all I'm looking for. Here we have an overnight range. Took the range high first, took the range low second, and then made the real move of the day. And here we kind of have a similar formation, almost identical to the last example that I just showed you. We have the overnight range. The market trades up on the news driver, takes the high of the range first, takes the low of the range second, and then makes the real move with that same narrative. that the market is rebalancing the impulse swing. In this case, it kind of sat high on that previous day range and then traded higher. So you can see what my model is basically based off of, right? It's just higher time frame narrative and profiles that tend to repeat themselves, and then using my entry criteria to get in to time that reversal. So here we kind of have an overnight range. You see market retraction lower, opens at the low day, drops open, makes a new low day, trades up, rebalances the range, and makes a real move. So I'm just looking for these similar things that repeat over and over and over again. This is literally almost identical to what I just showed you. So you can get a good idea of what that is. And so the reason that the market does not make a lower low than that of pre-market, because it's already delivered that discount objective. So what does it do? Right at 9:30, it opens and it trades up. Now let's pull up the recording from today's session. Do a little analysis on this. Let's check it out. Let's see what we got. Okay. Market opens. I'm noting these smooth lows, right? Because I think the market would likely drop down, take these smooth lows, and then go for that high. Or actually, no, what I was thinking was the market would trade higher first, rebalance this range, and then go for those lows, and I was looking for a sell idea. So I came to the market bullish, although I felt like I intuitively knew that I should be bearish, because over the past few days, I always come to the market intuitively knowing that I should do X, but instead I do Y, and the market ends up doing X, and I just fuck myself over. I've just been consistently losing, and it's been very bad recently, if I'm being honest. But it's not that I'm taking bad trades. Or actually, some of the trades are bad, but for the most part, like, I'm still able to know what the market's reaching for, and I'm executing that move. Like, y'all saw what happened yesterday. I was able to execute the move. I just barely got stopped out. And then the day before that, I had a winning trade on, but the market came back on me, and I let it turn into a losing trade. I was up over 80 handles. And the day before that, I had another trade where I was up over 60 handles, and I let it come back on me. So in this case, I'm noting the strength of the market. I'm noting how this candle closed near its high, and I'm seeing inside of this imbalance, right? So to me, that's a sign of strength, and I'm framing the risk on this idea. And I actually do place a limit order out there at 23.89650. So if I literally just left this limit order out there and trusted the long idea that I had established in my pre-market plan, well, then this would have delivered. And I was targeting the consequent encroachment of that gap on the hourly. Let's go back and annotate that. Visibility, current interval and below, down to the 1 minute. And you see me frame the risk on the trade as well. Look at the risk to reward on that. It's over 3R. It's definitely worth it. Now, I told myself it was worth the risk and I should definitely take it. My stop loss was going to be at the midpoint of this order block right here. Was it? I think it was a bit above that. And I was going to target the midpoint of this gap. Because I'm thinking, I know that this is a draw on liquidity. How far can it potentially reach beyond that? Potentially the midpoint of that gap. Look at this, 4R. Now my limit order was actually not at the low of that exactly. It was at 23.89650, and it stayed there. And eventually I took it off. Guys, like, I'm just lacking conviction in my setups and in my model. And then what happens? The market ends up delivering it. Well, then I impulsively sell short because that sell idea on the back of my mind. So I just have a huge problem with just lacking conviction in the narrative that I've framed and I've established for the day, and that affects my decision making. That affects everything that I do because I had that sell idea on the back of my mind, and as the market's trading back up into this SIBI and it left the sell side smooth below here, I'm thinking that I could probably trade up and rebalance this and trade lower. But I shouldn't even be thinking that at all if I just come to the market and I'm confident in longs, and that's it. But because I have that sell idea on the back of my mind, now I'm like, oh shit. You know, maybe it's going to trade up and then trade down. So I'm looking to be a buyer and the seller at the same time. Therefore, I talk myself out of this trade. Now, here in the moment, I told myself, dude, it's worth the risk. It's worth the risk, right? but I pulled it off. And then what happened? I had the sell idea on the back of my mind, right? So when the market aggressively breaks lower, and then on the 5 minutes, I see how it left the opening range gap, previous day settlement at 9:30. That gap opening, if I just go to regular trading hours, you can see it right there, where we settled yesterday at 4:14, where we opened today at 9:30, creates the opening range gap. That difference right there, when the market traded up and attempted to leave it, but then suddenly crashed back inside of it and closed back below it on the 5-minute time frame, and then showed me in immediate rebalance of this large down candle, I sold short that, and I was going to target this level that I annotated with the little I that you see in the beginning of the recording. Like there, right there, right? So it's just a continuous mistake that I am making approaching the market, looking for two ideas, buyer and a seller, and then that eventually leading to some kind of trading mistake intraday. For example, the second loss that I took yesterday was influenced on the fact that I came to the market looking for a sell idea and a buy idea. My sell idea played out. I barely got stopped out on it. And then because the market kept trading lower, instead of looking to get on side with that move, I looked for my long idea once the market delivered the pre-market sell side yesterday. I could have easily got on side with that move. And if I only approached the market looking to be a seller and just trusted that sell idea, I could have easily got a part of that move. And I would have probably taken another solid quality 3R and above setup. Now today I had it. It was there. It was in my hands. My order was out there. I would have got filled. The risk made sense. And I talked myself out of it because I have that sell idea on the back of my mind. So you can clearly see that the constraint is that I'm lacking conviction in the higher time frame narrative that I'm establishing, or my bias. Which once I get that down, once I can confidently repeat that over and over and over again, I really believe that's going to reduce a lot of the mistakes that I'm making. For sure, 100%. Because today should have been a good session had I had conviction and bias. The day before that should have been a good session had I had conviction before bias. And then the day before that was a mistake on my end, not taking profits when the market gave them to me, and when I knew that the trade idea that I had was clearly dead. So normally I would be working to correct these problems, but I'm handling the weight of the decision that I had to make that I mentioned earlier in this video, and I'm just out of it, you know? So I think that's gonna be it for this one. Nothing much more to discuss besides the fact that I keep repeating the same mistakes over and over and over again. I'm just going to keep studying my system. This is the Optimal Intraday Swing Model Study System version 2. This is it. So I'm thinking about building something that will, if you want to participate in it, it will be for the community. It will be a group of select individuals. I want it to be a small amount of people who are like me, young, ambitious men who are don't have to be young, just men. Ambitious men driven to become the best version of themselves. It's not going to be something that's just for trading. I kind of want it to be like a networking thing to create a circle of, where we can surround ourselves with other men who are ambitious. It's not going to be just trading. Obviously, there's going to be trading in it, but it's also going to be mindset, habit, nutrition, and training. So like those 4 things, those 4 pillars of man, as well as trading. And I'm going to dump all the knowledge and resources that I have on all of those subjects. And I want everybody else who's in the community to do the same. And it'll be kind of like a value exchange, or kind of like a knowledge exchange. And at the same time, just like networking and building with each other and lifting each other up. Like I'll be actively engaged in it on a day-to-day basis, talking in there, messaging everybody, trying to keep everybody's heads up, trying to keep everybody motivated, and then just growing with y'all, as a community. So that's something that I want to be building and working on in the near future. It's probably going to take me a couple of months to build that out, finalize it before I release it. So if that's something, if you're interested in, or if you have any suggestions on what I should do with that, please let me know in the comments. I think that's going to be it for this one. Covered about everything. Y'all know the struggles that I'm going through. I know y'all are probably going through them too. This is a part of the game, bro. This is a part of the game. But guess what? You have no choice but to just keep putting one foot in front of the other. And that's all you can do. That's all you can do. So I'm down, but I'm not out. I'm down, but I am not out. And I'm far from out. So for this one, talk to you guys tomorrow.